Johnson Space Center for the STS-123 1JA Crew News Conference. It's my pleasure to introduce the commander of the mission. Retired Navy Captain Dom Gorey will lead the crew of STS-123. This is his fourth spaceflight. He served as the pilot of STS-91 in 1998 and STS-99 in 2000, and then he was the commander of STS-108 in 2001. We'll let Dom start the introductions of the rest of the crew.
Thanks, Kylie. We're here today to tell you that STS-123 is ready to go. We are ready to fly this mission in another week. And if you had to go to a drawing board and describe an exciting mission from scratch, I think you'd come up with STS-123. We've got everything on this mission that you can imagine: going to the space station, taking Garrett up there and dropping him off for another crew member, Leo, 16 days on orbit, 5 spacewalks, international hardware, night launch, night landing. It's all there to make this flight a really exciting flight, and we've got a really good crew here to go do that. I'm going to introduce next Greg Johnson. He's a colonel in the Air Force, an F-15 pilot, test pilot, flew in Desert Storm, and he's going to be doing a bunch of work on our flight that he's going to tell you a little bit about.
Well, Dom talked about how exciting the mission is, but before I start talking about what I'll be doing on the mission, I can't emphasize enough how wonderful this crew is. I mean, for the last year we've been training together. You know, Dom is the best commander in the office, and he's a great mentor and coach for me personally as a pilot and for each one of us in this mission. And I'm really looking forward to working with these guys for 16 days, doing a great mission with a great bunch of guys. I'll be a pilot, and so operating the right side of the forward cockpit of the shuttle there. And I also will be working the station and the shuttle robotic arms. And now I'd like to introduce Dr. Garrett Reisman. He is our most precious payload. We're taking him to the space station, and we're going to leave him there. He also is a robotic arm operator and a spacewalker.
Wow. Thanks, Greg. It is really a great deal of pride and honor that I'm a member of this crew. I am going to be members of the Expedition 16 crew and the Expedition 17 crew. But for me, there's no doubt in my mind that the highlight of my whole spaceflight is going to be being a part of this crew. It's kind of, for me, since I'll be doing robotics and spacewalking and assisting with all these guys and their tasks, for me, it's kind of like playing the Super Bowl and then going about the regular season for another 2 months. And I've been so happy and comfortable and had such a good time as part of this crew that I think when it's time to close the hatches, I'm going to be looking around saying, where are you guys going? Why are you leaving me here? Because it's just been a wonderful experience being part of STS-123. And I'd like to now introduce our MS-1 and major in the U.S. Air Force, and my Caltech classmate from years ago, Bob Benkman, who's also sporting a very nice haircut, I'd like to point out, special for today.
Thanks, Garrett. I appreciate that. Well, Dom already covered how exciting the mission is and all the wonderful things we're going to be doing with EVAs and robotics and all the international hardware. And our pilot, Box, he covered all the excitement and how great this crew was to be a part of, and so I won't be long-winded on those two things. My part of the mission, I'll be Mission Specialist 1, so I'll be sitting behind the pilot trying to help him out the best I can. I'll also be doing some robotics operations, supporting the first EVA. Flying Rick will be introduced here in a little bit around on the arm as we construct the SPDM, the initial construction of the SPDM. Then I'll also be doing 3 EVAs later on in the flight after helping conduct the second EVA as the IV crew member inside the vehicle. With that, I guess I'd like to introduce my colleague, the guy who sits next to me on the flight deck, Navy Captain Mike Foreman, P3 pilot, test pilot, mission specialist extraordinaire.
Thanks, Bob. Well, my name is Mike Foreman. I am Mission Specialist number 2 on this mission. Mission Specialist number 2 gets to sit, besides sitting next to MS number 1, I sit between Dom and Box on the flight deck going up and down. So that means I get to be the guy sitting there saying, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Once we do get to orbit, though, I'm involved in all of the spacewalks. Like Bob and Rick, I get to go outside on 3 of the spacewalks. And then on the other 2 spacewalks, I'm the internal vehicular communicator coordinator. So I'm all EVA. I don't do robotics, so don't ask me any questions about robotics. But anyway, involved in all the EVAs. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mission Specialist number 3, Takao Doi, our most popular crew member. Takao flew once before on STS-87. He has PhDs in astronomy and aerospace engineering, and he is a great person to be on a crew with. So I'll turn it over to you, Takao.
Thank you, Mike. I'm very happy to be here today. We'll be carrying the first piece of Japanese space station module Kibo. I'm very excited about it. We have a great crew and the great commander. I'm very proud to be a part of this team. I'm looking forward to this mission. 皆さん、こんにちは。土井隆雄です。いよいよ、日本の、スペースステーション希望の第1便の打ち上げです。皆さんからの応援、心から感謝しています。頑張ります。どうもありがとう。Now, I'd like to introduce great EVA specialist, Rick Linehan.
Thanks, Takao. Well, everybody on the crew said everything already, all the good stuff, but all I can do is reiterate. First, what a great bunch of guys they are, and what a pleasure it is to fly with them. My name is Rick Linehan. I'll be the EV1 on the flight, and myself, Garrett, Mike, and Bob will all be performing EVAs, 5 of them on this international flight. And one of the cool things about this flight is that it either encompasses all parts of the international mission space station, either in equipment or personnel. We'll be building a giant robot, the Canadian Dexter, or special purpose dexterous manipulator. We'll be also installing, or Takao here will be installing, the JLP with Dom, the Japanese logistics pressurized module. It's a really exciting mission with a lot of mix in it. I think also that this will be one of, if not the most robotically intense mission that we've accomplished so far in ISS. And Box and Bob and Takao and Dom will all be having their hands in that. So I just feel really privileged to be part of the crew, and I'm looking forward to a successful mission. And it's a pleasure to be here today, and thanks for coming.
Okay, we'll start with questions. We'll start here at the Johnson Space Center, and please state your name and affiliation and direct your question, if you can, to a crew member.
Mark Carruth from the Houston Chronicle. Probably for Dr. Linehan, but feel free, please, to include others. I'm trying to visualize what it's going to be like to assemble this robotic device, and you're going to be picking up pieces and kind of putting it together out on the end of the